All right, let's just jump right in. In late January, something happened, something that sent a huge shockwave through the gaming and software world. It wasn't a new game, it wasn't some massive corporate buyout. No, it was an AI project, and believe it or not, it wiped out billions of dollars from the market in just a few hours.
And the impact? I mean, it was immediate and it was brutal. We're talking about catastrophic, single-day drops for some of the biggest names out there. Unity, down a staggering 35%. AppLovin, down 30%. Even a giant like Roblox took a pretty significant hit. It was just a bloodbath on Wall Street, and it was all because of one single AI announcement.
So, you gotta ask, right? What on earth could cause a panic like this? A multi-billion-dollar panic? What kind of technology could possibly be so powerful, so disruptive, that it made investors literally question the entire future of these massive companies?
Okay, so let's get into it. Let's break down that sudden shock. To really get why all that money just vanished, you have to understand what was driving the market. And it wasn't just about the numbers. It was emotional. It was driven by this one really powerful fear. The fear of becoming totally obsolete.
So, at the very heart of this panic was this one pretty terrifying idea. The idea that a new AI had just shown up that could make the entire old way of building virtual worlds, well, obsolete. The fear wasn't just about some new kid on the block, some new competition. No, this was about the possibility of total irrelevance. Investors started asking themselves, wait a minute, can these huge companies, built on years and years of complex code, actually survive a shift this big?
And so, here it is, the culprit, the cause of all that chaos. It's a research project from Google DeepMind, and it's called Project Genie. This is the tech that sent investors running for the hills. So, what exactly is it? Okay, so at its core, Genie is something called a world model. Now, I know, that sounds super technical, right? But the idea behind it is actually pretty simple and kind of beautiful. It's an AI that doesn't just spit out a picture or some text. No, it creates an entire interactive, fully explorable virtual world, all from a simple prompt. We're talking a photo, a quick sketch, or even just a couple of sentences.
So let's really dig into what makes Genie so special. This isn't just about making pretty static images. We're talking about generating entire playable worlds from a simple text prompt. And here's the kicker. They're interactive in real time. We're looking at 20 to 24 frames per second, which is definitely smooth enough to feel like you're actually playing a game. And it's consistent. The world remembers what you do, it reacts logically. That's the huge leap forward that completely freaked out the market.
And this quote from Google DeepMind, man, it just says it all. Create and explore infinitely diverse worlds. See, they're not talking about just making one little piece of a game or a single level. Their goal is infinity, the ability to create and explore forever. That is the game-changing idea that sent shivers down Wall Street's spine.
Which of course brings us to the big debate that's happening right now. Is this thing a disruptor? You know, something that's going to come in and just wreck the existing companies? Or is it an accelerator, a tool that's going to make them more powerful than they've ever been before?
And you can really see the two sides of the coin here. On one hand, you've got the market's fear, right? The thinking goes, if anybody can just type, create a fantasy world with dragons, then what's the point of a massive company like Unity? That line of thinking leads to fewer developers, devalued companies, the works. But then you have the industry itself, and they're saying, whoa, hold on a second. They see this as a powerful new tool, not a replacement, something that helps creators, not gets rid of them.
And check this out. The CEO of Unity himself, the company that got hammered the most, is pushing back hard against that fear. Matthew Bromberg came right out and said it. Rather than viewing this as a risk, we see it as a powerful accelerator. He's basically arguing that this tech is going to plug into their system, not compete against it.
So here's the core of that accelerator argument. Think of it like this. Genie can create a beautiful interactive video, but that's just the sketch. It's the starting point. To turn that sketch into a real game you can sell, you still need an engine, right? You need something like Unity to handle all the physics, the gameplay rules, the online stuff, and maybe most importantly, how you make money from it. And hey, you could even argue that more content means more games, which could actually mean more ad revenue for companies like AppLovin. And it's not just the companies saying this. Analysts are starting to come around too. This quote from Mike Hickey over at Benchmark really hits the nail on the head. He separates the creation of a game from the business of a game.
Sure, AI changes how games are built, but it doesn't really change how they're discovered, how players are acquired, or how they're monetized. And that's the business that companies like AppLovin and Unity are masters of.
Okay, so we've had the initial shock, we've heard the industry pushback. Where does that leave us? Well, the dust is definitely far from settled. The market is still on edge, and everyone is looking for what comes next.
And that brings us to a specific date, a date that everyone is watching. Seriously, the entire industry, investors, developers, you name it, they've all circled February 11th on their calendars. It's become the next big moment in this whole story.
So why that date? What's the big deal? Well, that's the day AppLovin, remember, one of the companies hit hardest in all this, reports their earnings. But it's not just about the numbers. It's about their outlook for the future. This is going to be the first real major signal from an industry leader since the whole Genie thing went down.
And you can bet investors aren't just tuning in for the revenue figures. They're listening for a plan, a strategy. They want to hear it straight from the leadership. How are you going to adapt? What's your plan to integrate this new tech? And the big one, how are you going to not just survive, but actually win in this new AI world?
Which leaves us with the one huge unanswered question that's at the heart of this entire story. We're really at a crossroads here. Is this new wave of generative AI the end of creative industries as we know them? Or is it the beginning of their most exciting chapter yet? Honestly, the answer is still being written.